Fight Show, episode 14, live on the interwebs.
Been 14 already, huh?
14, Bubba. I'm battling some throat and chest stuff now, so I sound horrible, but we carry on for everybody watching. Fight Show, episode 14, live on the interwebs, brought to you by Pull No Punches Apparel, 717 Surplus, and our new friends over at CannaDips. Let me tip it for you. The flavor of the week this week is Orange Dreamsicle, and this is their 5X CBD, so 50 milligrams of CBD per pouch.
You know what? I might put an order in as soon as we get done with this show, just because I can.
Well, don't forget to use the code FightShow for 20% off your order at CannaDips.com.
Well, I would only feel good about it if I saved money buying it. That's what I do. It's my thing.
You're never going to pay. You're not going to pay full price. Chris Cape's back. What's up, buddy? Thanks for coming in. Make sure you tune in next week. Bill, you're regular time next week, right?
Correct. Only one time a month I will work a Thursday overnight, and
this is a special. This is Bill's special Saturday show.
Yeah.
Because he had to work this week, slaving away for the man. Thanks for stopping in again, Chris. We fucks with you. One of the guys that's been supporting us from the beginning on Facebook. We got a lot of people, buddy. Do you know where we have an international fan base?
I've heard you say that, dude. I just get here man. I just get in here and bullshit about MMA with you and stuff, and you handle all that fun stuff, man.
I mean, the time difference is a little good, but shout out to our buddy Dan. He's been in the Fight Show Nation since like day one. But yeah, man, we're in the abyss of no MMA. I'd be remiss to say that I was kind of weird.
Well, you had yourself a little. I had a little family event last week. You had yourself a little road trip to Pittsburgh. How's that?
247 Fighting Champions. Shout out to Ryan and Hunter, the guys out there, man. It was
I will be at the next one. The next event we have, I will be at that one. I just had that family event.
I mean, it was cool. We stayed at the Hilton right next door. The venue was great. First of all, shout out to Ryan and Hunter out there in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was cool. We did the whole thing. We had a little meetup at the OG for Mandy's. There was a couple people that watched the show that I met up with my brother. I went with my brother. We met up with them. We had lunch, and then we get to the hotel, and our buddy Jacob Olave from down there at Kaizen, he was fighting, so we linked up with him. He was staying at the Fighter Hotel. We did some content with him and talked to some people about CannaDips. Had some CannaDips to hand out. But no, we did that, and then, of course, we had just eaten, got checked in the hotel, and he's like, bro, I'm hungry. So all the kid wanted was fights in 5 hours, and all he wanted was rolls from Texas Roadhouse. So we went over to Texas Roadhouse, grubbed out with half the main event.
Being that it's Christmas, and on this show, I often shout out some stuff. The first show we go, I will be at the next one. The next place you go is media. I'll be there. I'm gonna have a crisp $100 bill in my pocket, and being that it's Christmas, anybody that comes up to me and says, "Hey, you owe me a beer," I'll buy you a beer at the show until the $100 is gone. So,
well, we had talked. We'll shelf that because Ryan. We are going to have Ryan Middleton and Hunter from 247 Fighting Championships on to talk about their next one in February in Murraysville, Pennsylvania. So just outside of Pittsburgh. Actually, I think a little bit closer than where we just were in Monroeville. But yeah, no, the facility. It was a nice little convention center, direct right off the street.
How was the co-main and the main event, man?
I thought about this. I want to say this. So the co-main, first of all, the card top to bottom, they had done a lot of grappling at the beginning, which was different for some people. I like watching the grappling, so it wasn't a big deal for me. We were sitting there. I'm sure you saw on social, sitting there cage side with the CannaDips, and they had an open bar. So I was kind of enjoying myself, a little dadcation, me and my brother.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Venue was good. Seen your buddy Pat.
Pat Johnson. Shout out Pat Johnson.
Yeah, Pat was.
Pat's
cool.
Always cool.
Seen the new commission, the new boss man.
Ed Kunkel, man, one of the best.
Yeah.
We got one of the best. We really do. Pennsylvania.
I don't know if it's my problem with authority or what's going on, but he looked in, and I'm like, oh god, guy looks like a state cop. Like,
I'll tell you what. Do you remember the show Beavis and Butthead on MTV? The gym teacher, Mr. Buzzcut.
Yeah,
the guy with the real high and tight. That's Ed.
Yeah,
Ed's the nicest dude, man. He's a good step. Pennsylvania mixed martial arts was left in good hands. You know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
A little more promoter friendly these days.
Good show. Great matchmaking, I think. From what I can say, and this is me saying this, and this is no disrespect to anybody. Everybody that steps in the cage at any level gets respect. But I think this promotion, I think Ryan and Hunter and the guys out of 247, the team out there, the matchmaker and everything, I think they are there's a lot of depth out there that I didn't see. But if you don't have a structured place to where you can showcase your skills and don't have the opportunity to do, like the coach at the Mat Factory, I feel like I know the guy now. I watched him corner. He might have had somebody in 75% of the fights. You got 3 or 4 gyms right there in that small area. And even though as big as Pittsburgh is, it's still a small area. And I think it kind of reminded me from when I was promoting upstate New York, like you see pockets of good talent. And there's just no when we were operating in New York, we used a third party commission, and there wasn't a commission. You know what I'm saying? So, it's not that it's the Wild West like New York was, but it's definitely Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has some depth there, and I think with some time to showcase it out there, I think they're going to have some decent people out there. The gyms look straight. The coaching looks straight. I think the talent pool is definitely shallow on the shallow end. And that's not a disrespect to anybody, but with more time and more shows and more, guys at 247 showcasing it the way they are. I think that given a year or two from now, it'll have a bit of a different look out there. And again, that's no disrespecting, but you see there was a lot of amateur fights. So with that being said, like the amateurs they were entertaining enough to be on a card. So that's not, again, I'm not speaking negative about anybody out there in Pittsburgh, but it's just, it's a different look. And that's all it was. Like I said, the talent pool out there is going to develop. I have the faith that if you're watching guys on cards now in Pittsburgh at 247 and you're watching these guys come through 2 or 3 years from now, it's going to have a different look. I think with 247 being out there, it's going to, and everything that they're talking, Ryan was on the show and talking to us and stuff. And I think that they are going to make some moves that are going to benefit Pittsburgh MMA as a whole. And that's important. So, but no, production wise, super, I loved it out there. They were welcoming, my first official show as media. I've been at a show and I kept my brother said the same thing. Cause my brother worked with us when we met you down there in Virginia at Strike Off. Like he worked, we were there to work. And even though I was there to work, like I'm still wasn't quite sitting in the stands as a fan, but you're used to sitting by you don't have any other seats. You know what I'm saying? How many fights as opposed to being right there at cage side, even if you're not reffing as compared to being in the stands, you know what I'm saying? And the number doesn't even compare. So it was a different feel, something new for me, new look for me. No, but I definitely am excited to see the future for Pittsburgh MMA. And I think it's going to be,
like I said, I'll be at the next one. I get all my vacation back after January 1st. And I'll definitely bookmark those events. That just happened to be, like I said, I was out here in Hollywood Casino with my
Patrick Brady says somebody looks like Bryce Mitchell. And I hope he's not talking about me because I'm conscious still.
That's
I'm
brutal.
hoping.
What's up, Pat?
That's all right.
How you doing, brother? What's Pat Brady's next fight? I like watching that guy fight, man. He comes.
Pat Brady, what's up? What are you doing, Bubba?
Pat the Brick Brady.
I did talk to Pat. Like I think me and Pat were DMing afterwards. I don't remember who initiated, but like after we've been commenting back and forth on stuff. And Pat'll be coming on. We got some stuff going in the new year, guys. Like there's definitely some people, and we kind of took a break from guests here and holidays, and it's hard to pin people down. So we just kind of
for
me
sure.
And Bill bullshit. Chris, there's no guest tonight, so man. So whatever, if we see it and we can get to it, we're definitely getting ready to cover the week that was past, the weeks that's coming up. We got a couple weeks till fights, but definitely Chris, some stuff to talk about.
Chris, you can ask whatever the hell you want, brother. We're here to bullshit about MMA talk.
Brent's in the house. What's up, Brent?
I knew he was going to be.
Season's beat. He's got nothing to do for the next couple of weeks.
Always willing to catch any error or slip up that I make, and make it fun and witty. What's up, Brent? Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and Mazel Tov and all that shit.
Happy Ramadan, Brett. That's not even now. I'm sorry, that was ignorant of me. I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, Brent's not fighting until after Ramadan, by the way.
Yeah, Brent. He's on strike until Bill's ass comes back.
Yeah, I was at Hollywood Casino, and I actually I think I sent you a screenshot. I can't remember. I actually was there with my brother watching the fights. Cashed in on about $1,800 worth of bets. So I'm still down an astronomical amount, but we got a little bit back.
Karma checked in.
My coach said I'll be doing a kickbox match here soon. Riley, I'll hit you up offline. I have a nice little promotion down in Delaware that puts on a real good show. I'll toss out the name of the promotion to you, and you can look into it. But they put on a good show down there.
I love how the kids on the show. Fight. Kids on the show. He's got my number.
Okay.
No, he don't text me to tell me this. He just waits till we're live on the internet and just drops it off. Way to go, Riley. Appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, Riley, Riley and I inboxed. I meant everything I said. When it's time for him to go, I got some stuff for him. So,
thoughts on Patty the Batty after his last fight? He needs a top 15 guy. Can he handle it?
He didn't look stellar. I mean, he beat up an old dude, which he's supposed to do. He's not even 30 yet. He's supposed to beat Tony Ferguson at this point. Top 15? Probably not yet. His top 15 test was, like I said, I still think
I can pull up the rankings here. Hold up.
He lost the fight against Jared Gordon. The judges, saw it a little different way.
Yeah.
It is what it is. The top 15 in any UFC weight class, man, they're a bunch of freaking killers. He looked all right. Had he gone out there.
Yeah, and they only go to the top 15 too. So now, hold up.
Had he gone out there and annihilated Tony Ferguson, I'd say, yeah, maybe he might need one more before he can go top 15. Now, what was Ferguson ranked? Was Ferguson even ranked? I don't think you could be after a 6-fight losing streak, No.
Which everybody puts a lot of stock in the rankings. The rankings are done by media. And if you honestly want to hear the funniest thing of the week to me was the fact that after the whole DDP Strickland fiasco in the crowd, you look on the fucking rankings, the pound for pound rankings, the following, I think that Tuesday when they update the rankings, Strickland went up one.
He's now we're just talking entertainment. Who do you want to see the most? That's what the rankings are. It's not even who would win in a fight. It's who you want to see the most. I'm just playing around. I like Strickland. He's brutally honest, which is a lost art these days. Everybody's trying to run around, be a character. Sean Strickland's character is himself. So,
well, yeah, for what it's worth, aside from the women belong in here's the deal. If you're that guy, and I say this with every intention of not saying that I identify with him, if it sounds corny like that, but me, I traditionally I don't have a filter. I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
Really good.
I don't.
It's a really good way to live.
I don't. And exactly. So if you're that guy, if I'm that guy, I remember back in the day, if you were in an argument or whatever, and you called somebody a bitch, and then it went to and then if you really wanted to bust out the showstopper, it was cunt. People, he called me a cunt. Now it's if you're just going to be that guy all the time, what's the worst? What are you going to, women belong in the kitchen, as opposed to I'm going to send you to the 7th layer of hair to see your dead dad. There's differences, and you can't even loop that. Sean Strickland's just, okay, let's get some heat. What can I say?
The funny thing about Strickland, I really do think he is a stand-up dude. He's a stand-up guy 100%. Who would, help old ladies cross the street. He's a stand-up dude. He just says what's on his mind.
he identified and Rogan was talking about it, and not to, not getting into politics or anything like that, but Rogan was talking the other day when Bo was on about the pop that Trump got at 2 different events. I think he was at like the Miami event, and then he was at the New York event. And Rogan just said it was just insane. Now you're not getting that pop off heat, but then if you hear the pops these guys get with the heat, it's the same thing. It just doesn't sound as impressive because it's booze. But being in that arena and hearing that many fucking people, like, perfect example, Jacob Olavi fought in Pittsburgh on the 16th. He was one half of the co-main event. He chose to fight. His opponent came in 3 pounds overweight. It is what it is. But anyways, that was the local guy. He was fighting in enemy territory. And it wasn't 8,000, 10,000, 15,000 people. But just sitting there and listening to, like, any other time I've ever worked, I've either worked as a promoter or I've been there as I've never been to a fight thing as a manager. I've done some manager stuff behind the scenes, but like anytime I've been at a fight show, it's normally been, I'm either been a fan or if I've been working, like, to be there as media and I know this guy and I'm probably the only guy in the arena besides his coaching staff that he knows. This entire arena was against him, this entire convention center. And it was nuts. So amplify that to 8,000-10,000 people when you got heat on you. And I'm like, it definitely adds an immense amount. It adds something different. I wouldn't say an immense amount of pressure because some guys thrive on that, but it definitely adds a different feel to what's going on. I can't think of another word to say.
If I had ever had Sean Strickland's level of fighting ability and you put that spotlight on me and I had all the media appearances, man, I'm going to say whatever the hell I want to say. Anytime I want to say it. I don't give a shit about you. Cancel me on the internet.
Well, and here's the deal. Much like everything else, I don't have to agree with everything he says because I don't feel the same about women's MMA and I don't feel the same about this. Like, I don't have to agree with everything he says to be a Sean Strickland fan. And that's where, we spend a lot of time in these social media groups and it's like, anymore, the minute somebody does something that you don't agree with, it's fuck that guy. No, I don't agree with what he says on women's MMA. I'm still a fan of Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
I don't agree with Connor's antics all the time. And I think as a man, as a hustler, there's different levels that you can respect people on. And just because I respect Conor McGregor's business acumen and what he's done in the cage when he's been in the cage, the other shit is fuckery. And it is what it is. That's the guy's life. Let him fucking live it. You know what I'm saying? Kudos to him for having that much money.
Truth be told, MMA fans, we love the chaos. We love the drama. We love the bullshit. It would be a very, very boring world if everybody just got up there like GSP and was crazy respectful. We need the characters. We need the Colby Covingtons. We need the Sean Stricklands. We need the Chael Sonnens. we need it all. We love it all. That's why we stick around. If you were bored with this shit, we wouldn't discuss it and you'd watch something else.
With that being said, we've had the screen up for 15 minutes just ranting. We'll go all the way back down here because from top to bottom, really, this card kind of delivered, man.
It did. I will get. I watched the whole thing. I'll get real with my feelings on it. Opening fight, Gaziev and Martin Budai. Budai was ranked 15 at the time. Gaziev was actually a killer. He goes in there to try and finish a fight. Maybe. I watched Budai's past few fights before that. Hey, there's always time for him to go back and train leaning on the cage against somebody and throwing weak knees. Maybe he can come back and get a win, a boring-ass decision win in the next event. Not a fan. I respect anybody who gets in that damn cage because it takes balls. But, man, he just tries to lean against people and throw soft-ass knees against the cage and coast to a decision win, and Gaziev shut him down, man.
Well, his picture's up there now. They didn't have his picture last week. Now we got his picture, so we're good.
How can you promote a guy like that? I mean, he fights, hell, he fights like me. I fought horribly. I was not an entertaining fighter when I fought. I tried my best, but I also wasn't, UFC taking a paycheck and having people pay UFC prices to see me fight. So,
yeah.
All right, Andre Feely. Yeah, he's been around for a while. That one, he's a vet. He's not an easy win.
10 years, and you know what? He said that I caught him on MMA Hour, and he said basically I think he felt like either was it this fight. I'm going to mutilate it now that I'm going to go quote it, but basically that it was like his UFC debut all over again. And I'm the lighter weight classes are starting to heat up, and I really think we're going to see some more. I think you're going to see an all around picture this year of like a lot of 24 is not going to be dominated by one weight class. I don't think. It's going to be there's a lot of stories that are popping up and a lot of paths that are popping up that we're going to see some really good.
Dude, the game's always evolving. Every weight class is stacked.
Yeah,
there's not heavyweight might be one of the the lesser, not talented. That's not the word I'm looking for. The lesser deep weight classes. The top 15 are clearly the top 15. And I'll be honest with you, with the way stuff is going right now, heavyweight wrestlers coming out of college, D1 college programs and stuff like that. If you can't make the Olympic team, UFC is a path to success. Where if you come the right way,
and we're diehard Gonzo over. Well, me personally, I'll speak on me, but Bill pretty much follows suit with it. But if you're a Pennsylvania MMA guy, we fought like. We 100% we're behind you, and
oh for sure.
We get to claim Bo Nickel.
I like you guys.
We get to claim he might be a Texas wrestler, but we get to claim Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel, Dan Lambert, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but there's an ATT facility in State College now.
I did not know that.
10 minutes from the PSU wrestling facility. It's like right there at Bo Nickel's house. Like that's where he trains at. I don't know. I think Bo's going to be building up a team, and I think you're going to see a lot of Penn State wrestlers going through ATT in the future.
He could pretty much recruit. And listen, for those that don't know, the Penn State wrestling coach is a guy named Cale Sanderson, who did not lose a match his entire collegiate career. I mean, it's unreal. That's like he didn't even have an off day where he lost in overtime one time. Nothing. He just won. He came in as a freshman in college and ran the table in his whole season, the state tournament, never lost a freaking college match. Okay. These guys that he's coaching at Penn State just for the wrestling team. And I think Penn State's won national title, or three years running or so.
I don't follow as much anymore. My brother was considering Penn State for wrestling at one point. He wrestled in high school, and his coach and his brother in our area were like his uncle was a former state champion. His brother, they both wrestled for Lock Haven. His coach's nephew is now he was a true freshman last year and went to number 2 in the nation for his weight class. So Penn State, I was actually listening to the Bo Nickel interview with Rogan the other day.
Unreal what they do.
It's a dynasty. It's unreal. Anytime you talk about dynasties in sports, like college athletics, Penn State wrestling is there. He said they have training notes. Hold on. He said they have training notes to like 2011 or 2000, some odd year way back. They still have like the notes of everything they did.
I'll tell you this.
Nuts.
If you are on the Penn State wrestling team at all, even as a backup, it's because one of the greatest collegiate wrestlers of all time picked you. He saw something in you. He's not like, oh, let me give this guy a chance. He saw something in you, thought he's going to be great. If you go to Penn State, you already have a work ethic that he sees. He's going to take that next level. These guys are getting out, and you just can't become – it's few and far between that somebody that goes – out of college, there might be room for one to get to the Olympics and be a millionaire. If you want to be a multi-millionaire, mixed martial arts is the way to go. And I guarantee a good few guys on that Penn State wrestling team are eyeing up Bo Nickel, seeing what the hell he's been doing, and they're going to come firing out of D1 college in the next 5 years. 2-3-time national champions, and Dana White's going to be there with open arms waiting to sign him because these guys are vicious.
Yeah. And if you look at Bo, I mean, Bo did 2 fights on the Contender Series. Mm-hmm. Second fight he did, he had a shoulder injury. He literally was talking about the other day, he had a shoulder injury going into that second Contenders fight, took some time off. But Bo Nickel only started striking. And we're sitting here talking about the prior stuff, but the news with Bo, we're going to get into that. But Bo Nickel's only been striking since August of 21, bro.
I think he's either 4-0 or 5-0 as a professional. Don't quote. It's somewhere right around there.
He's 5-0 as a professional. He fought for Jorge's promotion before. Like I said, I guess he was down in Florida fucking around. Dan Lambert is, has big ATT down there. You have an iPhone. We just got a thumbs up thing from you. Do a thumbs up again, Bill. Hold on. Do a thumbs up again.
I believe
something just popped up on your screen.
Oh, I don't know. I believe Bo Nickel, in his 5 wins, I think I did the math one time, he spent approximately 6 minutes in the cage in 5 pro wins.
Yeah.
So this is you know what, you and I were inboxing about this. I was critical. I'm like, yo, you knocked this guy out in the guy that he fought last. He knocked him out in 38 seconds back in like July of 2023. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, dude, you took no damage. You've never taken damage. Like, how are they not announcing his next fight? Now it turns out Dana White had the plan for UFC 300. And you and I were inboxing. He's getting Cody Brundage. And like I said, I do respect anybody that steps in front of a crowd, the UFC size, of that kind of pressure in fights. Cody Brundage is not my favorite fighter on the UFC roster. I feel this is a punishment. He was getting his tail kicked in by a guy named Jacob Malkoon that they wanted to promote. And he took a shot to the back of the head. It was, dude, I've refereed for a long time. Fans have watched MMA fights for a long time. This was not the type of shot that would make somebody quit. Sure, take a second or two to clear your head. All right, I'm good to go. He was getting dominated, took a hit to the back of the head, and took the DQ win. That's fine, whatever. Well, anyway, that really hurt the hype behind Jacob Malkoon. It gave him a professional loss. Nobody stops to really ask, like, hey, how do you lose? They just see a loss. And then they put him in there against a guy named Zach Reese from the Contender Series, and they wanted to highlight Zachary Reese. Zach Reese had Cody Brundage in a triangle. Cody wasn't winning the striking. He wasn't winning the grappling. He wasn't winning anything. He dumped Zach Reese on his head, knocked him out. So he ruined a second prospect. And now he's being fed Bo Nickel, or he's being fed to Bo Nickel at UFC 300. The UFC is looking to highlight this guy, and Bo Nickel is the benefactor of it. I checked the odds. It's minus 1,100, which means you'd literally have to win, or you'd have to bet $100 to win 10. You could pretty much empty your 401k out on this, unless Bo Nickel gets hurt. And folks, do not enter your 401k and put on Bo Nickel. I'm just saying.
This is not financial advice. No.
There is. This is to put Bo Nickel in front of a lot of people watching and really have him hammer somebody. So that's my little rant about that. Anyway, so this is a punishment.
And Chris Kate made a comment. Chris, if you're still with us, no, August the 21, he said he started striking. He works with a select group of people. He's located right there at the PSU complex there in State College, like right there. I guess when he was down in Florida, linked up with Dan Lambert, who runs ATT. Dan Lambert put an ATT facility right there in State College, and I think there's talk of Bo trying to put a team together out of State College. So something else exciting for us PA MMA fans. Yep. Like I said, we're rabid for the PA MMA guys.
No, word on the street is Bo Nickel is as good as advertised. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, he said, what did he mention? He said 80, his striking coach that he works with, and I don't know the name, but his striking coach he works with is 80 something amateur boxing fight. Like that's why his striking. And for anybody, again, going back to PSU having training stuff till 2011, like it's a dynasty for a reason. The money that's poured into the athletics. And as far as the pressure, people are like, oh, can he perform on this stage? If you've never been to a PSU wrestling match, even their little home minor matches are in a couple thousand seat small gym.
The Bryce Jordan Center.
No, there's one smaller than the Bryce Jordan Center.
Oh,
that is
really?
Packed to the gill. Yeah, there's like he said different, and he was talking about this in the interview. If you get a chance to, man, listen to that Rogan Bo Nickel interview. It was a really good interview.
Oh, yeah, that was just this week, right?
He talks about it's I think it was recorded last week, but he talks in there about, performing in front of this many people. Like the small gym at PSU holds X amount of people packed to the gills. Bryce Jordan Center, or wrestling on NCAA, like all these things are. He's already used to the pressure. He's already used to performing with fans screaming his name.
Listen, Bo Nickel is one of these guys. He is a one-on-one competition specialist. I feel like he would be good at table tennis, ping pong.
Yep.
If you challenge Bo Nickel to be great at ping pong, I feel like if he wanted to, he would be great at ping pong. He's got a work ethic, and he's kind of got that. Seems like he has that Michael Jordan style killer instinct. The money, like I said, I don't want to turn this into a gambling show, but I do love gambling. Bo Nickel is not there to let this thing go out of the first round. Whether it's knockout or submission, Bo is going to be vicious. He's going to be quick. He's not there to take it 2 or 3 rounds. So if you wanted to bet Bo Nickel to win by any finish in the first round, that's a Bills bet. I'll lock in on that one.
Yeah, that's the just like I said, watch that interview if you guys get a chance to watch the Bo Nickel Joe Rogan interview. Is really, really good. Put it on 1.5, 2 speed, catch it all up in about an hour.
I feel like there will be a day. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I feel like there will be a day where Joe Pyfer fights Bo Nickel. I'm just guessing. And I would hate to see either guy. I would hate to see either guy lose.
You look at the hype behind Nickel and the hype behind Pyfer, like they both have a lot of MMA hype.
Mm-hmm.
And this is no disrespect to Joey or anything, because I'm a huge fan of Joey Pyfer. The hype behind Bo is different because of his amateur wrestling career and his collegiate career, and I think that right now I don't want to see Bo Nickel versus Joe Pyfer. Like, listen to that interview. That has to
be a world title fight.
Listen to that interview because he definitely has a plan for his career, and you're going to have tons of experts on the internet. Why isn't he fighting this guy? Give him the comms on it. No, that's called nurturing talent. They know they have something special in Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel might have said some things, but of course, I'm never fighting on the prelims. I'm not a prelim fighter. Well, guess what? Bo Nickel's the first fight on UFC 300. Bo Nickel's okay with it. He signed the contract because Bo understands.
That's a special event. But after that, you'll never see him on the prelims again if he wins, which he will. I'll tell you, I think honestly, I think we, just a guess, I think we see Bo Nickel versus Khamzat Chimaev in 2024. I think that happens at some point. That's just my guess. Could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
Chris Cape says, how would Dan Hendo do at 185 now?
Well, he's 60. He would get killed.
I think what he means is like Hendo's, like if you took Hendo when Hendo was in one of them era questions, and I don't think that, again, this is no disrespect to anybody, but I don't think
the game has evolved.
The game has changed, and you can't just be the best karate guy. You can't just be the world champion taekwondo. You have to be a well-rounded, high-performance athlete. And I can't even tell you if wrestling is the best base for MMA anymore. I think MMA is the best base. Like you got guys like Nickel, you got guys like Bo Nickel, who in all rights should take a guy down and beat on him, Mannheim Strangler style, or you just can't anymore. Look at Leon's wrestling. Leon does not have the pedigree of wrestling that you would expect. He's trained MMA wrestling for however long he's trained MMA wrestling, and he ended up. Look at the Usman fight. Look at the Colby fight. Like, they have a wrestling pedigree, whether you like them, whether you don't. They have a wrestling pedigree, an amateur wrestling pedigree, collegiate wrestling pedigree. You can't discount anything anymore or any style. Excuse me.
The athletes are, and it's in football, it's in basketball, it's in mixed martial arts. The caliber of athlete these days, due to education, due to sports science, due to training methods, the level of athlete is way higher today than what it used to be. Yeah, no. What is it? Henderson's probably I'll give it 3. His 3 most famous knockouts, I believe, were what? Vanderlei Silva twice. Don't quote me. Vanderlei Silva twice.
Bisping, and Bisping, I think, were his 3.
I'm putting Bisping on that list.
That counts at least 2 of them.
Sure, if you're a guy and you want to stand in the pocket and trade with Dan Henderson, there's a good chance you end up on the wrong side of a highlight reel. The fighters these days are so smart and so athletic and so like strategy oriented. Nobody would stand with Dan Henderson and trade punches. They would try and make that a different game, you know. And listen, Dan Henderson did really. I love Dan Henderson. He was my era growing up. He really did sit back on one big overhand right, one big right hand punch. He kind of sat back and waited to land that the whole fight. I don't really know that would get it done in today's mixed martial arts. I'm not saying he couldn't beat anybody. If he was in his prime, of course he's going to beat people in the 85 roster. He'd be top 10, you know, top 15, but I don't know that he would, with the skill set that he had. I don't know if he would be a champion or win any Grand Prix finals, you know, or anything like that. But
yeah,
and I am a big fan of Dan Henderson, but yeah, no, he probably wouldn't do well. No athlete from back in the day would do as well today as they did back in their time. Hell, no. Tim Sylvia was the heavyweight champion 15, 20 years ago. Oh my God, he wouldn't crack the top 30, top 40 these days. The guys are just so good, you know?
Yeah. Let's we turned this into the Bo Nichols show for like 20 minutes. And we're going to talk about him again here when we pull up the 300 card. But no, Andre Feely, glad to see him back in the win column. You called this one. You said
I've never even seen that guy fight before. I heard a Muslim first name and a Russian last name, and I'm like, that's not good.
You heard the name, you saw the beard, and you made assumptions. Yeah. That's all right. We all did, and we were right.
Yep. Yeah, these guys from Russia can fight. Did you know that?
These 2 chicks, the only thing that topped this was
they busted each other up pretty good.
It was a good fight. The only thing topped that was Strickland on DDP. But anyways, Cody Garbrandt, I saw it, and now about our weekend, I had just got back into. I think we just got to the hotel. No, we were still at the arena because they had an intermission. We were still at the arena. I watched this. I watched the Garbrandt Kelleher fight live during the grappling events at 247.
I'll tell you what, looking back now, 2 fights back, Cody Garbrandt, former world champion Cody Garbrandt, made Dominic Cruz look the fool. He fought very, very safe against whoever he fought against 2 back, because had he lost, he would have got cut. And I was wondering how he was going to come out and fight this time. Shout out
France.
Who was it? Oh, Cara France. Okay. No. Who did he beat though? He beat. Did he? No, he lost Cara France. He had a win. 2 back.
His last win was the Sunsow. Did he fight? This one doesn't have a.
No. He fought somebody after that. Man, he click on Jones. Click on there.
It's not giving me a.
Did that get turned to a no contest or something?
Hold on.
Well, that was the fight. Cody Garbrandt fought very safe that fight because he didn't want to get cut. And if he would have lost, he would have got cut. So he just made sure he did what he had to do. He did the minimum to get the win. And I wasn't sure how he was going to fight Kelleher. Now looking back on it, shout out to Cody. He came out for the kill. He came out swinging, pressing forward. Who'd he beat 2 back? He beat Trey Jones.
Yeah,
right?
He had a loss to Cara France, and then he fought Jones.
And I mean, he played that safe. Yeah. He played that as safe as he could. And now that he got that win back, man, he came out to fight. He was pressing Kelleher the whole time, throwing hard. Nothing was pitter patter jabs. Hey, shout out Cody Garbrandt. I like Cody Garbrandt.
It looked like the old Cody. Like, I was happy to see him. These 2, I don't know why I thought that was the other fight. These 2 right here. I tuned into these 2 fights here at 247. I'm not going to lie. I did not tune into the Mansfield Jacoby because it's Mansfield and Jacoby. But then we ended up leaving right after Bryce Mitchell had seizures. But no, these 2 laid it all on the line. I'm glad they got the fight of the night. They deserved it.
Oh, that was the two chicks. Was that the two chicks that really? I mean, they were
yeah,
jacked, right?
Rosa and Aldana. I don't know why I was looking at the other one. The other one got a performance of the night. That's why I was fucked up. Lipsky got a performance of the night.
Gotcha.
She just got 50K. They got fight of the night. Of course, Menfield won. You called that. Josh Emmett, Bryce Mitchell. Wow, that was a fucking surprise.
I don't listen. Coming. I don't know why I doubted Josh Emmett. I thought that one would be close. It just shows you how good Ilya Taporia is. You know, Ilya Taporia dominated Josh Emmett, just dominated him. And he's fighting Volkanovski coming up. We'll address that on a later show. But one, Josh Emmett still has it. Two, this kind of just lets you know how good Ilya Taporia is. You know,
yeah, for sure.
Dude, he dominated Josh Emmett, and Josh Emmett is still a force.
Mm-hmm. And he's been around.
He's been here for a minute. Yep.
I can't even think of when Josh Emmett. He's been around. Like he's on the top tier of.
I know a lot of people liked watching Bryce Mitchell get knocked out. Bryce is a little wacky dude, but he's a nice guy. You know.
He's just a good old boy from Arkansas. Like
if he lives
his life a certain way, and
he says some weird shit. He does some weird shit, but you know what? If you lost $1 million in a briefcase on the ground and he found it, he'd do some weird shit like call the police and give it back. You know, because he's a good guy. Just a little off. You know.
That's his. Hey, he lives his life how he wants to live his life. If he wants to. If you want to live on a farm and be off grid, or you want to let people fuck your wife, I'm not. Look, live your life the way you live your life. Whatever makes you happy, bro.
Yeah. What
Tony Ferguson, Patty Pimblett. Tony Ferguson needs to retire.
Well, he was in the media this week, and Dana White was saying, "I hope he retires." And they were like, "Oh, Ferguson puts retirement ramblings to rest." Well, that's fine. You don't got to retire, but you're not going to fight in the UFC again. You can go. You can go somewhere else with it. Dana White's not going to give him another fight because here's the thing: you've been on the promoting side of the game before. Say you did have the only guy you could give Tony Ferguson these days is not a top ranked guy. It's an up and comer. Even if Tony Ferguson could beat that guy, what the hell would you do with Tony Ferguson after that? All the guy did was derail one of your prospects. It kind of like John Fitch when Dana White cut John Fitch. I would be shocked if the UFC gives Tony Ferguson another fight. Why give him a chance to derail one of your prospects, unless you're trying to promote? Yeah. I mean, I already think the UFC was trying to give Patty Pimblett Tony Ferguson's name, which he did. He took it. And you know what? Truth be told, I watched it. I don't want to say Patty Pimblett took it easy, but I think he respects Tony Ferguson. He really didn't look like he was trying to get him out of there.
Yeah,
he might have been able to, but Patty Pimblett, he did what he had to
do. I remember we got back to the hotel. We stopped at the bar downstairs, grabbed a drink, got back to the hotel. Literally, I think as they were doing walkouts, because I pulled it up on my phone. Mm-hmm. We got back to the room and got settled and shit, and it was like second round, and I'm looking at Patty, and he just. Third round, he looked gassed.
He did. No, the back half of the third round, he was
back half of the third. He looked gassed when I seen it. And having missed the first half of the fight, I was like, and I wanted to catch it, but again, scheduling, we didn't get over there in time. But I'm glad Patty got the win.
I'm sure the UFC has a plan. I don't really know what's next for Patty Pimblett. Like that was a fight the UFC wanted to win.
Well,
he did.
You sit there and you can't. We'd be remiss to say what's next for Patty Pimblett, knowing he's getting ready to have kids. Literally, I think the week of one of these upcoming cards, maybe UFC 300, his wife's due with twins or something.
Oh, okay.
Patty's already said he's out for a little while. You can't really sit there and say what's next for guys like Patty Pimblett because you got to wait for these, like, 4 or 5 months from now, if you're not in these divisions, they can look vastly different.
Yeah, Dana White has a plan for him. They did. They don't match these fights. He's got a whole war team. They don't match these fights. They have a plan whether this guy wins or whether that guy wins. Unless you're Cody.
And sometimes your next move could wait, you could be waiting on 2 or 3 other moves to play out. People, it's the same people that sit there and say Bo should fight Shav or Khamzat right now are the same people who don't understand that. So they're probably also the same people that live in these groups that say the UFC should fire the refs because the refs work for the UFC. It's all right. People of all walks of life love MMA, and we love everybody.
Yeah, Shavkat. Yeah, that guy's a future champ, man. I think so anyway.
I saw the text. Somebody posted the text on Twitter. I think it was one of his team. He had a ligament injury 6 weeks ago.
I think
that's why
amazing.
It looked the way it did.
What was Thompson ranked? Number 6?
He was. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, no. At this point, you give Shavkat number 2 or number 1. I mean, it would be silly to have him fight number 5 or number 4. You give him top 3, and if he wins that, real impressive. Like finishes, probably gets the title shot. Oh my God, Rachmanov versus Leon Edwards. Edwards would be in a little bit of trouble, man. Like I'll tell you that right now.
I mean, if you
Shavkat
look at,
does it different.
We'll just finish this off here. I mean, there's not much to say about Pantoja, Royval. Pantoja looked great. No, Royval in his own right just didn't have enough, man. Like,
I'll tell you what, that one was part of the parlay that I won a good bit of money on. One, he had already beaten Brandon Royval. 2, Pantoja beat Brandon Moreno 3 fucking times. You know how hard that is? Like, Brandon Moreno's like a very, very good fighter. He's the world champion of Pantoja.
Hey, this is a good friend of mine. He's an old guy, looks very much like Fidel Castro. Knows nothing about MMA. Just went out to breakfast with him and a buddy the other day. We used to work with each other. Good old timer. Looks like Fidel.
Thank you for tuning in, man.
This, you know what? Millionaire. We got a millionaire watching our show. Shout out to Paul Tate.
Geez, there we go.
Legit millionaire. No bullshit. Long story.
Buy CannaDips stuff and then send me a pack.
I know, that's right. That's what I'm saying. What's up? Sponsored by Paul Tate. What's up? Get an affiliate deal.
Yeah, right.
Leon Edwards, Colby Covington.
Covington says he broke his foot within the first 30 seconds. Maybe he did.
Covington told Patrick Bet David that the doctor said he thinks he may have broke something, and then the rest of the podcast said my foot was broke. So if a doctor told me my foot was broken, then I could say my foot was broken. If a doctor told me my foot may be broken, then it may be broken. It's not actually broken. Either way, excuses are like assholes.
He's maybe yes, maybe no. He wasn't on the same level as Leon Edwards is right now. Colby Covington sat out for what, a year and a half?
Colby Covington is 0-3.
Yeah. No, he had a shot at it, but like I said, Leon Edwards has been. And I think I called this out when we discussed it last show. Leon Edwards has been out there and he's sharp and he's beating the top guys in the game. Colby Covington's last 2 wins were Robbie Lawler, who I love. I love Robbie Lawler. But his grappling and wrestling has never been like top notch, or anything like that.
Which I don't understand because of granted, he wasn't division. He wasn't, Brock Lesnar Division 1 NC, but at the end of the day, like, he still has a decent wrestling pedigree.
Yeah, well, and then it was Jorge Masvidal. And it's like all you did with these 2 guys was hold them down, grapple them, take some pot shots. There was no severe ground and pound. There was no submissions. There was no powerful strikes. And then he's going in there after a year and a half layoff against Leon Edwards. And let's just say I cashed a nice little bet on that fight. I was at Hollywood Casino, and I'm used to getting screwed. Somebody, Aspinall kicks Curtis Blade's leg and breaks it. I'm used to my parlays fucking up. And we were heading into the main event, and I just needed Leon Edwards to win. And I knew how much money was on the line, and I was sweating it. I was like, come on, God.
You were pretty drunk, and you sent me a video of you singing that Jelly Roll song about talking to God, needing a favor.
Yeah.
You talk about parlays. Valentina Shevchenko getting choked out by, I can't say choked out, but Valentina Shevchenko getting submitted by Alexa Grasso cost me $13,000 on like a 7-leg parlay. So
that's a parlay buster for sure.
It was heartbreaking.
And Shevchenko was
already spending that money.
Fight. Yeah,
I'm like, Shevchenko's the only one I got left. I'm already spending that money. I'm already planning on what I'm going out tomorrow to get and all kinds of shit.
And Shevchenko was winning the whole fight. It's not like you picked it wrong, and then she tries some spinning back kick, some shit, and gets taken down immediately and choked out. It's like, Jesus.
Shout out to Alexa Grasso. Can we just sit back as MMA fans and just look at this for a minute? Like, you get to see this, and we'll just I mean, there's not much in depth, so we'll go over stuff the following week, but this is the next thing coming up. I think Cape's going to make some noise.
Yeah, he's good.
You already pretty much know Ankalaev. I mean, unless Johnny Walker pulls one out of his ass, I think Ankalaev. You're looking at a light heavyweight championship, at least fighting for number one. Well, this year you should see Ankalaev cruise to the top. Jim Miller.
Wait. Ankalaev is already the uncrowned champion. He beat Jan Blachowicz and just didn't get his belt, which sucks. But
all I hope for on this card.
Ankalaev is the best 205er in the world. I thought Dana White said that Jim Miller, if he wanted
Here's the caveat to that. Jim Miller needs to not take any damage from Gabriel Benitez because this is January 13th. So if Jim Miller takes this, or Jim Miller wins this fight, and I think win or lose, you're going to see Jim Miller at 300. But what's the best case scenario for Jim? The best case scenario for old Jim here. Jim wins this fight, and at best, if he gets anything more than I think a 90-day, because January, February, March, April, if he gets anything more than a 90-day medical suspension, straight up medical, not 90 days cleared by a doctor, but a 90-day straight up medical suspension, you won't see Jim Miller at 300. So my whole hope for this entire card is Jim Miller surviving, because the rest of this card is really not nothing, honestly.
Small prediction here. If you want to start UFC 300 off of the bang, you start it with Jim Miller. If there's a reason for everybody to tune in at 6 o'clock when they go live and have the first fight, this guy's fought at UFC 100, UFC 200, and if he pulls this off, he will have fought at UFC 300. That's unreal. You've been around for...
I say you put Jim Miller at the top. Well, first of all, I think, and we're going to get into this here in a minute, but I think, because we now looked at this, so we're done with that. The rest of that card is honestly, I'm not too impressed with that card, but I want to see Ankalaev Walker.
Okay.
This card's getting interesting. We'll scroll down here just real quick, because it's down here a ways. They updated it. Yeah, they updated it. So again, we have these are the first 3 fights on 300. We've already discussed Bo Nickel. We turned 15 minutes into the Bo show.
The Bo show.
Aljamain Sterling, Calvin Kattar, which fun fact with this, if you look at, and we can go back again too, Brian Ortega, who's fighting Yair Rodriguez again in Mexico. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
Paulo Costa and Calvin Kattar have all been off for over 500 days. So essentially, a year and a half. Almost a 2-year layoff. So I'm interested to see that. Rakic Prohaska, I don't even want to try and pick that.
Nah, Yuri probably rebounds. He was looking good against Alex Pereira till he took a bad one on the side of the head. Kind of flash knockout, hunched his head down, hands dropped. Prohaska probably gets that one, I'm guessing.
Rakic's on it. I don't want to call that. We'll slide.
It's tough.
We'll slide. We're all over the fucking place tonight, but we'll slide back here. I'm stoked for this.
Yeah.
South Africans on the internet hate me because I'm an ignorant American and I'm pulling for Sean Strickland, and I don't care who knows it.
I'll tell you what, we got the BMF belt in the UFC, baddest motherfucker belt. Strickland versus Duplessis. That's the alpha male belt.
Yeah,
those are two of the most alpha male type dudes there are.
And we don't look for this is, and I've learned this over the last 2 weeks on the internet, just in my groups and doing what I do with content. Not to politics or lifestyle or how people identify or any of this stuff, but at the end of the day, people could say what they want, regardless of how he lives his personal life. South Africans love Dricus du Plessis.
He's a
They like,
respectable dude. He's a respectable guy. I mean, what is
yeah,
it? Adesanya hopped in the cage and started trying to bait him into this race shit that would have turned into something really, really fucking stupid. And Duplessis was, we all saw it. Adesanya hopped in and he started dropping M-bombs all over the place on Duplessis. And he said, "What's up? What's up, brother?" And Duplessis grabbed the mic. He said, "You ain't no brother of mine." And Adesanya kept on going with some racial slurs that really shouldn't be said. And Duplessis, you could see him. He went to talk to the microphone. He just bit his lip and turned around and walked away. He didn't even want to get caught, and he didn't even want to get caught in it.
yeah,
Duplessis is an honorable guy. He'd be a great champion. He's
yeah.
very aggressive. I can't believe he beat Robert Whitaker the way he did. He's a hell of a lot better than I thought he was. I'll give him that shit. I'm
We'll
excited
go
to
down
see
here
if
to this card.
I love Strickland too, though, man. Strickland is pure entertainment. That guy can't go anywhere for a while.
Well, and this is the Toronto card, so you're gonna see there's a lot of Canadian, I'd say, quote unquote locals. Sure. Some guys that are fed in. Definitely, there's a lot of Canadians, more Canadians than I thought. Brad Katona, of course, just came through. Ultimate Fighter again. Dominic Reyes is on this card.
I'll tell you what, Bill's bets, they are trying to give Carlos Ulberg Dominic Reyes' name. That Ulberg guy is good, very, very good.
Oh yeah.
If you check the background on him, Reyes has been getting touched in the chin and folding up shop. Fairly, he's not what he was. Listen, you take 2 or 3 or 4 bad knockouts in mixed martial arts from like top level guys, your chin and head isn't the same. We saw it happen to Chuck Liddell. Carlos Ulberg is young and hungry. Reyes is taking some pretty brutal knockouts over the last few years.
I mean, he took Jones probably about the only other person that took Jones that close was Gus.
That was so long ago. I mean, there's been so many. Well, I think he's been knocked out 2 or 3 times since John Jones. Dominic Reyes in 2024 is not the Dominic Reyes that fought John Jones 2-3 years ago.
No. Another guy on the come up, Arnold Allen.
No idea how this fight goes. This fight could go either way. I do like Arnold Allen.
Knocking on the door. He's been making some noise, man.
I do like Arnold Allen. He did take a seat to, who was it, Max Holloway?
Yeah,
who fought him last? He took a seat to Max Holloway.
Yeah,
there's no shame in that loss. Yeah, there's no shame in that loss.
I mean, he's got a win over Cater, a win over Hooker. You can't deny win over Sadiq Youssef.
Yeah,
you can't deny this guy. Like just in his last couple of fights, you go back a little bit, he's not fighting, but he, going back to 2017, 19. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was laid off pretty much. You didn't see much from guys for 20, but he's been on a fucking tear, man. And decision loss to Max Holloway.
I have no idea how that fight's going to go, but all I know is Muslim first name, or I'm sorry. Muslim first name, Russian last name.
And a V on the end of it.
Yeah. That's more often than not a bad night at the office.
Win over Diego Lopez, who just a decision win, who just looked impressive. Dan Ige. Again, he's coming through. Win over Duadu.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting fight. I don't know. Evilov he's hyped up.
Well, we'll cover that closer. I'm not really I said. We're so far ahead. We got our end of the year show next week. We'll cover some more stuff there. Neil Magny's on this card again. Rocky, I'm excited for this one.
Pennington and Venezuela. Okay.
Like go fucking Rocky. I want to see Rocky win this belt. She deserves it so much.
Those the press conferences with Strickland and Duplessis are going to be gold. Duplessis, sorry, however you say it.
Duplessis, DDP. I get yelled at for calling him DDP in the group.
No, that's a fitting name. That's a fitting name. I like it. Shout out
February 3rd at the Apex. This is a fight night. Let's see who's on this one. I believe, this is the Drew Dober's on this one. Renato Mercado.
Oh, that's a good fight. I did not know that fight got made. That's a very good fight.
Gilbert Urbina. I feel like. Why do I know that?
Charles Radke. Yeah. No, dude, I'm excited. I did not know Drew Dober fight. I did not know that fight got made.
Gilbert Urbina. That's going to bother me now. I'm going to have to look into him. Radke's fighting. Yeah, this. I mean, it's if you're a Uzbekistan versus Russia, that one should be. Molly McCann's back on this card. Good. I'll be watching. Kiefer Crosby, teammate of Conor McGregor's. I followed him when he fought in Bama and stuff over in Europe. He's definitely somebody to watch.
Molly McCann is horrible. She's a horrible fighter.
I like Molly McCann.
I like her too.
I think the best, one of the best sound bites of the year was somebody. I might have even been last year, but was somebody asking because him and Patty were like fucking her and Patty and him were like fucking. They trained together. They were together all the fucking time with her. Somebody's like, "Oh, are you shagging Molly?" He's like, "Bro, she's a lesbian."
Yeah, I know, right? Like, yeah, probably not. No, that Themba Gambarino that's fighting. Did you know Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, heard his story and bought him a fucking house? So this is like
okay.
This is his first, and they still don't have his picture. Come on, UFC PR team, get your shit together, man. You're the top. That you can go to the NFL, man, at the NFL website, and there's no player that's just blacked out. Come on, get your shit together.
Yeah, Nate Maness. We got 2 more. Landon Cajones, top 3 more.
Jamal Pogues. Yeah, I remember him from the Contender Series.
Yeah, he was. But yeah, no, excited for this one. Kiefer Crosby's on it. Gilbert Urbina, he is related to. Hold on, it's going to irritate me, so I'm just going to look it up now.
No, you. It sounds like Gilbert Burns, so you're like Gilbert Urbina. Like, who do I know that to?
No, what is he related to?
He might have a brother who fights out there. I don't know.
Was Hector Urbina? Is that spelled the same? Is that? I don't know. It's just going to irritate me, so I wanted to find his Wikipedia and look it up and see what it says. Yeah, I think he's Hector Urbina's little brother, which he was around a while back. He fought for Elite XC. Maybe, I don't know. Either way, it was going to irritate me because I just couldn't remember where the fuck I heard his name before, but that's how that goes. I'll wake up at 2 a.m. and look it up and figure it out, but that'll just be how it is for the day. No, we got some great stuff coming up. We got to wait a little bit, but
really good.
I think I hope they don't blow their nut on the first half of the year. Back again, see what else we got. I know the card coming up after that is definitely one we are tuning in for again.
I was inboxing Joey Pfeiffer about 3 weeks ago, and I mentioned to him about, like, I'm like, hey man, I said to him in the inbox, I said, yeah, you keep going this way, like the prelims and you know the UFC fight nights are going to be done. You're going to be on the pay-per-view card, which they make a little more. They make a sizable more amount. And he's like, no, they don't pay me enough for 5 rounds. Fuck that. Blah 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 blah. And really, I was just talking about him moving to pay-per-view. And then like a week after, I see he booked a fight against Jack Hermanson in the main event, which is a 5-round fight. So I know
is it going to be a 5-round main event? Because I know they've been doing some of them 3-round main events. I just don't know because I know Yair. I posted one of them is specifically a 5-round. I think it's Yair Ortega. That's specifically a 5-round fight. I'm
almost positive. Somebody prove me wrong if you can. With lately and all the fight cards coming up, your main events have been 5 rounds. I haven't seen a 3-round main event in a long time. They're 5 rounds anymore these days. Dana White pulled for that. And by the way, if you can get your bets in early, this is a Bill bet. Joey Pfeiffer knocks Jack Hermanson out. Jack Hermanson has.
Well, we're looking at 2 months out, so I'm waiting to see what clearly the odds aren't here. I don't know. I haven't looked on ESPN
they're not
to see what they open, but that's
I don't know what the odds are. I don't, Jack Hermanson, who I like, he's not bad, but his signature win is that he dove at Kelvin Gastelum's foot and put him in a heel hook. And he has this one move which is very, very effective. It's that side off guillotine with the arm and the head, everything packed in on one side. And you can create a lot of pressure and choke somebody out with that shit. Joey Pfeiffer works with a great team, great coaches. He's down there with Sean Brady, all kinds of guys. I mean, he works with top-level guys. For 2-3 months, he knows that Jack Hermanson wants to try and trap him in this little arm and guillotine. Jack Hermanson can't submit him. He's not going to knock him out I think it's a matter of time. I don't know what round. I don't want to make a prediction, but I remember Jack Hermansson's fight against Marvin Vittori. It was just a jab fest. Joe Pyfer is one of the hardest hitting 185 guys in the division. He knocks Jack Hermansson out. That's a bill bet.
Yeah.
I'll be betting.
If Jack Hermansson tries to take it to the ground, let Joey Pyfer show him.
No, dude, Joe. People don't even know about Joe's wrestling game, man. It's there. I've seen him fight. I've reffed him.
Yeah, dude,
multiple times. He might not be some jujitsu ace, but you're not just going to take him down and choke him out like he doesn't know what the fuck is going on. That's not going to happen.
I wonder, does their stats? I wonder if their stats and records are full MMA stats or if they're just UFC. It has to just be UFC. Takedowns attempted 6, but 83% takedown, 45% striking, which doesn't seem. Well, then again, Joey's fights in UFC. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if these are straight UFC stats or if these are through his whole career.
I watched a lot of fights over my career as a referee. Very few guys sit down on their punches like Joe Pyfer does. I mean, the guy, he sets his feet. He's not looking to hit you and move. He's looking to hit you and follow up with something heavier. Mm-hmm. I like watching Joe fight.
I'm just glad to see him crack it into the top 10 this early. Get a top 10 fighter, a chance at a top 10 fighter this early.
I'll tell you what, and Dana White, as we've seen how Joe got to where he's at, Dana White likes him. That's not a bad thing in this business, you know.
No,
look at what just happened with Colby Covington. He didn't deserve a title fight, but Dana White liked him, and the cards fell in your favor.
Well, then you have the argument because Colby weighed in as the backup, so he got the next title fight. Well, now Bilal weighed in as the backup, so there's so much stuff going on.
Dana White is hoping somebody beats that guy because he doesn't want to have to try and promote him as the champion. Hey, who knows? Bilal, on any given night, somebody can beat somebody. Bilal looks really, really freaking good against Sean Brady, and then Sean Brady goes out and dominates fucking Kelvin Gastelum. Bilal Muhammad's pretty good. Might not be the most crowd pleasing at times, but Dana White to try and promote him as champion, I already I see what Dana White's trying. It's like, oh my God, how am I going to make any money off this guy?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is probably not the dream champion for the UFC, but what?
He garners the right kind of attention. Bilal Muhammad he's thrown in a couple boring fights. Like I said, I respect anybody who gets in cage, but he's thrown in a couple boring fights. Like he got knocked out by Vicente Luque the first time they fought. He had a rematch versus Vicente Luque, and when I say he played that shit safe, I mean he played that shit safe in the main event spot in front of everybody. Dana White does not want him to be champion. he's praying that anybody beats that guy.
98. So you're looking at, I mean, we're here now. We got 13. So we got 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Another 10 days after that, 12, 13, 14 days, 2 weeks after that, another week after that. Like we're already week 6 of 2024, and you're looking at Pyfer versus Hermansson. Then we go the following week after that's Volkanovski versus Topuria. My wife is probably not going to like how much MMA is on in the house. She's like, I'm glad you're not a football fan.
That Volkanovski Topuria fight, that I have no idea, man. That could go either way. I have no idea.
It could.
Topuria is very, very good. Robert Whittaker, Paulo Costa. I don't know. Whatever.
I like Robert Whittaker though. You know what I'm saying?
He's good, but he's not ever going to be in contention for or win a world title again. There's too many good guys. Whether it's Hamzat Chimaev, whether it's Bo Nickel, whether it's Joe Pyfer, whether it's Paulo Costa who he's fighting, whatever. I like Robert Whittaker. He had his time. It's on the downside. I don't see him beating a lot of these new guys. Oh, and Duplessis put him on his ass. I couldn't believe that shit. Yeah. Duplessis planted Robert Whittaker, made him look silly, like in every aspect of the game. Whittaker's good, definitely top 5, definitely top 10. Fight for a title
being a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I can see him fighting for. Excuse me, I can see him fighting for at least getting a nod next year for a little bit. But Costa is one of that 500 plus day layoff, so almost 2 years. Supposed to fight. Who was he just supposed to fight? He had the elbow. The staff had to get the surgery.
He was fighting.
Was it Kamzat?
Yeah, it was. Good call, brother. That was Hamzat. Yeah, I had money on that, and they avoided the bet.
Yeah.
No, Costa
he pulled out with the elbow injury, and then Usman stepped in on short notice. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Costa ring rust. I'm not.
I don't know what Paulo Costa's deal is. Guy pulls out of a lot of fights. He's got to be getting the pep talk from Dana White and the boys saying, look, we've promoted this. We put money into it. Like, you really, really should show up to this one. No pulling out a week before the fight. No, because, dude, if he pulls out a week before the fight again,
yeah,
like that guy has just made year-long adventures out of pulling out of fights,
Yep. And, I mean, the last one, to his defense, couldn't be helped. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. I get it. I 100% shit happens.
But same way you tell your kids when you cry wolf, and then something's actually wrong.
Yeah.
Like
the one time you actually need it, and that's legit, all anybody's remembering is all the other times you cried the same shit, Oh my God, it put
this
yourself
card,
in
dude, this card is honestly, like, if you're looking at the way this stacked out, they moved Gary was to be 299. They rebooked the Neal fight, which was the fight that fell through before the Luque fight.
That's a good one. Fuck yeah. Yeah, Jeff Neal, Machado Gary. They tried to rebook Gary versus Luque, but Luque did not want it for some reason. I don't feel like Luque is very much in favor of the UFC right now. I don't feel the UFC is in favor of Luque. I think they're kind of pissed with him because I think I caught a snide comment. Dana White said, we've offering Luque 4 or 5 fights and he's not getting in there. That's the way to piss Dana White off, is he's calling you up. They're booking these fights. Look at
Sterling. I think Sterling fell out of favor a little bit with the UFC by not wanting to fight.
For sure.
Merab.
Not even a question.
But yeah, speaking of Merab, Henry Cejudo, that's got title implications.
I have no idea who wins that fight. I mean, I think Merab, just because Henry Cejudo is old, but that's a very, very. I'm guessing the odds when they come out. I'm not seeing it on your page. When number 2 versus number 3, when the odds come out, Divashvili will be like a minus 220, minus 200 favorite, some shit like that.
Probably.
I have no idea who wins that fight, dude. I have no idea. It could go 2 different ways. I do know Tai Tuivasa KOs Marcin Tybura. I refereed Tybura down in UFC Norfolk. Tai Tuivasa hits hard as fuck. I like Marcin. Or Marcin. He's a good dude and shit like that. Tai Tuivasa kicks the shit out of him.
Yeah, Tatiana Suarez, Lemos. Okay. It starts. I mean, Justin Toff. I'm excited about him. It kind of starts. They blew it all at the beginning, and then Andrea Lee and Miranda Maverick. I'm excited for that one too. I think that'll be a good fight.
Junior Justin Taffa. His brother is Junior Taffa. Both brothers in the UFC, by the way.
Yeah. Yep.
That was De Lima. That was the guy who got flying knee KO'd by Derek Lewis.
Yes.
Ikram Askarov, very, very good. Very good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I said, good little. Like I said, first 2 months, we got to get through these next 2 weeks now. A little over 2 weeks till the Johnny Walker card, and even that's. But then honestly, we make it to January 20th, and I think we're good after that, bro. This is the Mexico card. This is Ortega. Yeah, this is so. These 2 fights are 5-round fights.
That's a banger, man. That's a banger, man. Oh, Dana White's bringing it hard to Mexico, man. I like it.
We'll see. We'll see what else there is.
I'll tell you what. We have a good first 4 months of the year coming up, MMA wise.
Because even that. This is what did I see was added to this one? Was there something added to this one too? I thought no.
Is that the New Jersey card?
No, that was the Riyadh card. I'm seeing mutterings. I don't know how true it is. I posted it with a question mark. Vittori versus Magomed. What is it?
Oh, the
Shapiro,
bullet.
the pirate.
Yeah, the bullet. Yep. Yeah.
Shar Bullet. Yeah.
I,
Shapiro.
I think Bullet gets that one. I think. I don't know. I don't know enough about him. I mean, his first fight against Bruno Silva was really kick ass. He kicked the fuck out of that guy's legs.
Yeah, I think you're going to wait. That card we talked about going to, this is on it, but it's not the main because it's still a TBD. So that's probably going to be, I don't even know if that's going to be a co-main. It's on the card though. It's the first one booked.
No,
but that's that Jersey card we talked about.
It is the number one contenders fight for Faro and Herb, but they it's not. It's I was bitching about it online. It's not strong enough to be the main event. You know.
Oh yeah, I guess that is number one contender fight for women's flyweight.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Listen, they have. Here's something I will gripe about or bitch about a little bit. When Johnny Hendricks was fighting for a title, they were booking fights down in Oklahoma or Texas, wherever the hell he was from. When GSP was headlining, they would go to Canada. They would set up all these hometown events for these guys. And then when they would come to Pennsylvania, they would give us Forrest Griffin versus Anderson Silva, which is sure, that's a fun fight. It was awesome to watch. But like stack the card with Philly and Jersey guys and like, you know, do it like you've done it for all your other superstars. You're coming to Atlantic City, man. There's so many Philly, Jersey guys out there, you know what I mean, to headline that shit. And I hope they do it.
Well, you look at, and this actually brings me to a point. We talked about it in previous shows too, and we're running over, but it is what it is. Like it's
yeah, no, we're bullshit, dude. It's holiday weekend.
Bellator, Scott Coker did this with K1. Scott Coker did it with Bellator before Bellator was what it is now. But you would your TV guys would stack out your TV numbers, then all your local guys would get brought in, and you do it. And they do that, like you said, they've done it with GSP, they've done it, but again, you have Jersey, Philly, New York, like the whole tri-state area, like your Brian Kelleher's, your Jared Gordon's in Florida now.
Yeah.
Originally,
dude, Jared Gordon. It's a fight night, you know, whatever. Jared Gordon could be co-main or main event that night, you know.
Oh, Jersey, yeah. So they have. I mean, you look at guys like Pantoja. Pantoja's, and again, this is the marketing stuff behind UFC and Endeavor, and things have changed significantly because of once the Endeavor deal kicked, and they have more stuff now. But you know, Pantoja's never fought in Brazil. The guy's now defended his belt once, so you would assume sometime in the next year.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Pantoja in Brazil because at some point you got to bring these guys back around. And
sure. Yeah, I just hope
you don't have that opportunity with Strickland and like a Vegas guy because he's a Vegas guy. So you can fight in Vegas and it's a little different.
Yeah, I'm just like I said. I hope they, and this is no disrespect to Mana and Furio or however you say it, and Aaron Blanchfield. No disrespect to them. Great fights. I'm not saying it couldn't be on there, you know, but that's the fight that opens the main card or is the second fight on the main card. I hope to God they don't try and sneak that bullshit past New Jersey residents as a main event. I mean, UFC tickets are expensive as hell. If you come to my hometown and you try and sell me $1,000 ticket with Manon Furio and Aaron Blanchfield as the main event, I'm gonna be a little upset. Like, come on, man, come a little stronger than that, you know. Like I said, no disrespect to them; they can be on the card. I'm not saying that, but that can't be a co-main or a main event. The crowd's not even invested in that one, you know. Give him a local guy.
No, and again, there's so much stuff that's and again, a lot of people are. You're talking. There's fights now that play into. There's fights going on now, and there's fights going to be going on in January that play into what we're going to see at 300.
It's going to be a fun year, MMA, brother. It's going to be good. I'm glad to be here, drinking some beers, bullshitting with you about it. It feels good to be a fan. You know, beats the shit out of being a referee. I like talking shit. I like fucking bullshitting with you about the fights. I like saying what I really think, and I don't have to worry about anybody censoring me or any bullshit like that. We got a good 2024 in mixed martial arts coming up.
I mean, if you look at, I'll bring it back up here so we can fuck with it, but it's not. There we go. I mean, you look at, which, like I said, you can see right here, Strickland gets into it with DDP in the crowd last Saturday, and he moves up one of the rankings right here. But no,
Dude,
mean,
look
you
at
just
this. Look at the names in every weight class. There's the
it's
most talented
insane.
guys you've ever seen in your life, man.
It's insane. I want to see Figgy versus Sandhagen. I want to see. I mean, you look at Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez. One would think, like we said, Arnold Allen's getting ready to fight. Which who did we say Arnold Allen wasn't even fighting anybody that was. Oh, he's fighting what number 9 here. So one would think that, Yair Ortega is probably going to get the fucking. Again, you can't even say that because there's so much shit going on. Like, is Ortega Rodriguez going to get the winner of Volkanovski to? You know what I'm saying? There's so much you can't even. People are bitching online. It's like you can't. There's so much stuff that needs to play out.
The UFC has a plan. No matter what happens,
we know they have a fucking plan, and that's half the fun of being a fan is to.
They wouldn't make these fights unless they were okay with either guy winning, except for Cody Brundage. they want that guy out of here.
Potential too. Alex Pereira, he put out a cryptic tweet the other day.
Dude, listen.
30 plus 300 equals 3. That would indicate go up 30 pounds, UFC 300, and do 3 weight classes. But you got to think, Ankalaev gets through Walker. Jamal Hill's got the type of injury Jamal Hill has. You can't say when Jamal Hill's going to come back.
Here's the thing, though. Do you blow your wad on Alex Pereira fighting at heavyweight for his 3rd title in 3 weight classes, which has never been done before? If he derails Tom Aspinall, now you lost all your oomph with Aspinall. And it's still not the real title.
But you don't, do you? Because Volk didn't lose any
beat
oomph.
John Jones.
Volk didn't lose any oomph going up to. I mean, you'd have to do that for a title.
If Pereira goes up and beats Tom Aspinall, Aspinall is the one whose stock takes a hit. And it's not even, quote unquote, it's not even the real heavyweight title, because listen, until you've beaten John Jones or John Jones steps away, you're not the heavyweight champion. It is an interim title. John Jones has been so dominant for so long, and just getting guys out there and stuff. And, God knows the number of title defenses that guy has. But until a heavyweight in the UFC beats John Jones or John Jones retires, if John Jones retires and a heavyweight wins a title fight, okay, I recognize him. That's the champion, because John Jones is gone. If John Jones is just injured and you win some interim belt, you still haven't beaten John Jones yet, So, oh my God, if Jones was healthy, and you know what, I don't even know if this fight would have worked, but John Jones versus Alex Pereira in the main event at UFC 300 for his 3rd title, that would be some shit, man. We'd all tune in for that, I think.
I mean, I'm just looking at this, and the first thing that pops out when I look at welterweight is Sean Brady, Philly MMA stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, Colby Covington, number 5. And Colby's sitting here talking about Bilal and this and that. Colby should be looking
correct.
If he's going to talk about anything, he should be talking here.
Garrett, I couldn't, dude. If I'm the UFC matchmaker, the fight I'm making is Sean Brady versus Colby Covington. That's not even a question. If Colby Covington, if you can't beat Sean Brady, you are truly on the way out. And that's not a shot at Tom. Oh my God, Sean Brady's awesome. But if you can't beat a guy like Sean Brady, a young up and comer, hungry, you're really not in consideration for another title shot ever again in your life. I mean, we might hook you up with some like prelim fights here and there, but your days of being headliner and fighting for title fights, that shit's done.
I mean, sorry, Colby Covington was talking about Stephen Thompson the other day. That's what he was talking about. But I think
that's because he wants some guy he can try and like wrestle and grapple on and lay on and grind on.
Well, I think Sean Brady would be a good.
I'm trying to, dude. If I'm the matchmaker for the UFC, I'm trying to make Sean Brady versus Colby Covington.
Well, then you get Sean Brady taking out Colby Covington as a notch on the old bedpost there. Not the
1,000%. No. Yeah. Sean Brady beats Colby Covington. Sean Brady is much more dominant, much physically stronger, much more violent, in his approach. Sean Brady beats Colby Covington. That's actually a pretty easy fight for him.
Well, and with Rack, you would like to think too. I mean, we talked about Khalil after his performance the other week. I mean, you look at what's going on here. You know, Khalil Roundtree versus a racket.
Mm.
Khalil Roundtree again. It's you can't sit there. You don't know there's so much stuff that in the next 2 months is going to get sorted out that you can't really. There's so many possibilities. It's nuts. You know what I'm saying? Women's bantamweight, I think Rocky takes that. You got Grasso and Zhang Wei Li talking about they want to do something at 300. That would be a good fight.
That's a banger. No, Wei Li is by far one of probably. Nunez is the best women's fighter that I've ever seen. That Wei Li chick, she can grapple, she can knock you out, she can kick, she wins the positions. She's one of the best fighters I've ever seen. Women's MMA wise, yeah, Wei Li is one of the best fighters I've ever
Yeah, you
seen.
can't even look. You can't even really look at this with everything that's booked. I mean, Dustin Poirier's kind of just hanging out here, up around top 3. Lightweight.
He voiced frustration with that whole situation this week. He said, I'm just sitting around, kind of like I'm in a tough spot.
Chandler's still at number 5 because in the off chance McGregor beats him, they can put McGregor at number 5. And
I honestly believe. Listen, I honestly believe that fight is going down at UFC 300. I really think so. That's just me. Maybe it's a little bit of a wishful thinking as a fan, but yeah, Chandler McGregor finally goes down. I think so.
What do you do with a Jalen Turner?
Oh man, I don't know. I'd have to sit in the UFC war room and go a couple different directions with all right.
I think Gamrot's a nice little jump for him. Hooker's clearly out for a little while.
Dude, these divisions are so stacked, man.
Yeah, it's just so top. If you just cut it off at top 10, but then you can't even cut it off at the top 10 because you go over here and look, and I know Paul Craig, Brendan Allen's up at 8 now, but even Paul Craig's never more than one fight out of probably bumping somebody on the top 10. Marvin Vettori, I think, is going to be it's either up to Marvin Vettori or Robert Whitaker to be the new gatekeeper for the 85 division. I think
it'll be Vettori. Whitaker goes after knockouts and stuff like that. Vettori's kind of a jab machine. He's kind of the gatekeeper.
Some mutterings going around too. Usman said something. I'd like to see Usman Chimaev on a 5-round fight.
I'll tell you what, Chimaev did very well that fight against Kamaru Usman did very well against Khamzat Chimaev that fight. I agree, man.
Derailed the hype train just a bit. I think that again, Khamzat saying he had the injury.
Correct.
But
correct.
The end of that third round looked vastly different than the first 2 rounds. And honestly, Khamzat did wrestle fuck Kamaru Usman for the better part of 2 rounds. So.
A lot of UFC fighters, when they look subpar, will say about how they injured. I'm not doubting it. Say his hand probably hurt. If it was to the extent he, said it was, or if that's what helps him mentally get through at night, I don't know. But yeah, as it stands, he was fading in that fight. If Usman had a 4th and 5th round, he could have made shit real interesting.
I think Ian Gary coming, Ian Gary, Jeff Neal, this is his chance for, like I said, that fight.
Dude, they like I said, I don't think Vicente Luque is in favor of the UFC anymore because they would have tried to rebook that fight at a later date. Instead, they just gave him a new opponent, Ian Gary, a new opponent. That's a way of saying fuck you without saying fuck you. And I want to say that Dana White even dropped something in the media saying, "Hey, we tried to offer Luque 3 fights. He turns everything down."
Well, speaking of media, look at how he dropped the. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Michael Venom Page signing.
Jeez, yeah.
Did you watch Did you see that in real time? How it happened?
No, I didn't.
He goes and he says, "Here's the deal. I'm an ass like that. I watch all the press conferences, and fight nights for me don't end. Fight nights for me are usually everybody leaves if there's people over here, and I'll stay up and watch the press conference and the post fight on ESPN and whatever." Dana sits down at the press conference like he always does, and he goes, "All right, guys, couple fights for da-da-da," and he's just, there's no promo package. There's no nothing. It's he rattles off 3 fights, and in the middle of them, Michael Venom Page versus Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
That was the rumor. And then you had all the experts on the internet see Michael Venom Page get in the cage with Cedric Doumbé at PFL Europe.
There is no build bet on that one. I have no idea how that fight's going to go. None.
I feel like you're going to see Michael Venom Page come in like a like they brought a CM Punk in. Not to compare the two, but you have that name. You have that name and that fan base already behind you. He said on an interview, "I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time." I think see Michael Venom Page go against number 12. I think we'll just say this. If he doesn't make it past Kevin Holland, then I don't know where we're going to go with it. But one would expect that Michael Venom Page gets past like a Kevin Holland.
I think Michael Venom Page, I think he will make it a show. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they gave him the right opponent. They gave him Kevin Holland, never stops talking, never stops pointing, laughing. It should be, the trash talk will be fun. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I mean, you look at an MVP, Kevin Holland, I'm looking at it. He's number 12. Colby's at 5. Stephen Thompson's at 6. I feel like Michael Venom Page, MVP, gets past Kevin Holland. You give him somebody like a Colby Covington or a Stephen Thompson, a name to work through, a UFC name to work through, and then he's sitting at 5 or 6, and you could start talking about, okay, where are we at now between Kamaru, Bilal, and Shavkat? It's gonna be fun, man.
The UFC has a lot of aces up their sleeve right now. They could take it in a couple different directions, and we as fans are gonna love it. So,
which I don't even know if they have. I'm gonna pull. You get pissed off about this. Look,
I get pissed off about dumb shit.
They don't have Michael Venom Page's picture up yet.
Yeah, come on, dude. You're trying to sell him. Is this guy we got to pay attention to? You can't even get an IT guy to get his picture on the,
The good thing about Page is Page has his own guy that does like social and graphics, and his guy already got a picture of him with the UFC gloves and the UFC shorts, and that's his promo guy. And the UFC isn't even on it yet.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's what I'm saying is the UFC, one of your top guys, you can't get his shit on the shelves and for sale. No, they we have an IT guy. He can't even you can't even clip a picture and put the guy in. Come on, man. I'm trying to sell this guy with some hype, and we can't even get his picture on the website.
Yeah, man. All right. Hour 30. We're at 6:30.
That was a good shoot the shit session, man. I appreciate it. I like it.
I think we'll call it that. I think we maybe skip a referent this week because it's jovial. We'll keep it in a good holiday spirit mood, and you can bitch about everything next week.
I was literally my referent for this week. I was just gonna say I don't have one, man. I live a good ass life. I love to bitch and moan and piss and complain. At the end of the day, man, I got a good ass life. I got lobster tails in the fridge. I got prime rib frozen. I get to see my family this weekend. I had a good week betting. I got nothing to bitch about. Even on the days I ran about shit, life's still all right, man. You guys all enjoy your holiday. No negative energy. It's all love. I love everybody. I love all fighters. Even if you talk shit on me, I love you. I still love you, and that should make you even want to talk shit on me even more. So.
We love you, Patrick Brady, even though you said one of us looks like Bryce Mitchell, and I don't know who I was referring to, and I'm hoping it was Bill.
Listen, Bryce Mitchell's 145 pounds. I know he's not talking about my fat ass.
Well, he certainly can't be talking about mine.
He's talking about you.
I'll take it. What am I going to do with Pat Brady? What am I going to do? Nah,
hey, Pat, I'm still trying to spar you in the first quarter of the year, man. First 3 or 4 minutes, we go 40-50%. Last 60 seconds, man. Come on, let me turn it up a notch.
This is your tune-up sparring session for Sean Strickland.
Yeah. Pat, turn it up a notch, man. I'm not a bitch. I'll take it. I've been knocked out before. If it happens again, fuck it. We'll go viral on that shit.
Well, like I said, we got the end of the year show next week. We'll cover much of the same of what we covered this week. Just bullshit. See what pops up between now and then. We'll be back to our normal Thursday night time next week. We'll be back to that and get ready for New Year's. And we hope everybody out there has a good, Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. And if you celebrate Hanukkah, you have already celebrated Hanukkah, and Ramadan's not till next year. So I think we pretty much covered all the bases. But if you are celebrating Christmas, we hope everybody has a good Christmas on Monday, and we will be back Thursday night to talk about whatever pops up. And this has been Fight Show episode 14, live on the internet, brought to you by Pull No Punches Apparel, 717 Surplus, and of course our good friends. Well, let me get it here for you. Good friends over at CannaDips, Pull No Punches Apparel. We love everybody that supports us. Fight Show Nation, we got a bunch of thank yous to go out next week, so we will cover them worldwide. And until next week, appreciate all y'all. Have a good holiday, and we are out.